What's happening, party people? This is the new Himalayan. This is the 2023 model Royal Enfield. This will be the first Royal Enfield I think I've ever driven in my entire life. Kind of crazy when you look at it. Super duper simple. Double fenders. So it's an air oil cooled single cylinder, 410 cc's, and it's 439 pounds. And it makes a whopping 23 horsepower. But that's not what Royal Enfield is all about. They're about being simple and reliable. And they are the largest manufacturer of motorcycles in the world, as I am told. So I'm curious to see how this thing's going to try. How about you? Let's go. Look at these cool bikes. It is kind of a relaxed platform, that's for sure. Gauges. Whoa. Hey, what does this little side thing do? Yeah.
Literally just a clock.
But you can connect to it with your phone to do directions, right?
I can't remember. Somebody told me it was extremely underwhelming, whatever it is.
Okay, so it might just be a clock. But I do like the manual. I like the gauge cluster on this. It's cool. The handlebars seem a little bit tweaked. I don't know. ABS. This is a group ride, so don't get too excited. I did ask the lady, I said, how well do these wheelie? And she said, if you can wheelie it, you can have it. Challenge accepted. Cool paint scheme. It matches my jacket. So, again, on the group rides, it's a little difficult because you can't exactly rail on something. But you get a pretty good feel for it as you go. I enjoy the ability to be able to ride a bike. I appreciate that Royal Enfield lets us take these out on demos. So, single cylinder bike definitely has the thumper feel. I am 6'4" and actually a little cramped. Can totally stand up on the bike easily from the ground position. Flat footing this bike actually has quite a bit of clearance for a smaller rider. So I was just talking to one of the reps here. She said she's 5'7", and she also is beyond flat-footed on it. So I would assume, based on the height and everything, that she is probably, this bike's probably good enough for somebody that's in the 5'3" range, maybe. Just based on the way her legs looked when she was on the bike. All right, so immediately just pulling out of the lot and just starting to cruise on this bike, I can tell you, it really reminds me of my old KLR 650, the Kawasaki street dirt bike. And again, what they're going on, let's hit some bumps. I want to try this thing off-road. Apparently you can take these things everywhere. It's just a very simple bike, and again, with Royal Enfield being the largest manufacturer of motorcycles in the world and also the oldest brand continuously in production, obviously they're doing something right. Now, Royal Enfield's message is kind of simple. Let's create a cheap bike that's easy to ride and doesn't break. And that's what you're getting. So these bikes are not that expensive. I mean, this bike, if it was in the BMW format, would probably be 20 grand, right? And I'm not sure what the MSRP on this. I'll throw it on the screen. I think it's like 5-ish, so it's not bad. So I hear these top out around 70 miles an hour as well. They don't have a lot of top end. I mean, you're dealing with a relatively small engine. It's a single cylinder, single spark plug. It is fuel injected. and you know, just a bike to cruise around with, or to really learn how to ride a motorcycle too. This is a great option. So there's a gear indicator next to the fuel indicator. It's nice there's a fuel indicator on this. I like that. The tack is here too, and it's separate, so that's kind of cool. I really do like the way the gauges look. I was talking to the lady, what does the small gauge do? It's just a clock, she said, but I actually think it does a little more than a clock. Because it says powered by Google, so I'm assuming it might do turn-by-turn directions of some sort. So I don't know what's happening. So you can see how much room I have on this. That's full out. I mean, this it doesn't have a lot of power. This is a bike that, like, if you're gonna find a place to pass somebody, you better make sure you got plenty of room. But how does it feel riding? It's actually kind of comfortable, but I definitely, for the smaller rider, again, I'm 6'4", I would not, I don't know how long of a trip I'd want to take on this because it is kind of cramped, but I'm not the average size height person, so it actually might be okay for a normal size 5'7" rider. Might be perfect for this. 6-foot rider might be no problem. Ride quality, actually not bad, and this road is quite bumpy, and I have had really, I'm not getting jarred around at all. It definitely has that off-road suspension feel to it. So I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos of people with these bikes and what they do. I mean, going through rivers and streams and everything is kind of nuts. And the name suggests Himalayan, that it's designed to go you know, out into the wilderness. So it's kind of cool. I really dig the paint scheme though. I kind of want to get something like this for my BMW. I'm gonna ride right up into the back of this guy's truck. Here we go. So this is 4,000 RPMs, full throttle. It's underwhelming. But again, you're not expecting it. I'm not expecting it to be ridiculous. So yeah, I'm not expecting it to be this powerhouse. This isn't a GS. So this is super duper bumpy. That was a golf ball right there. 4! This is a super bumpy road and really not having any problems at all. The brakes on this are not that great. It's a pretty heavy bike, and you've only got one blinker going on it, one rotor going on it, so single-sided, full throttle. So you can see, it is what it is. Not bad handling, but again, feels like a dirt bike. Feels definitely like a dirt bike, for sure. Dirt bike with a little bit of street manners. I think this has more manners for like rugged terrain. At a little over 400 pounds, this bike isn't super light compared to you know, if you were riding like a traditional dual sport, like a CRF 250 or something. Speaking of CRF 250, my son bought one of those, and I've actually ridden it, and I would actually compare this bike somewhat to it. It's not too far off. first day riding a motorcycle, I guess. The ocean. Here we go, full throttle, ready? It's not terrible. It's not terrible, but it is not, even as far as power to pass somebody, I would be cautious. I want to make sure I have plenty of room. Single cylinder though, so an EPA like 70 miles to the gallon. That's insane, isn't it? So I don't know, do the math with the 3.9 gallon tank. How far would that get us? Pretty far. Yeah, I don't know what this guy is doing. Man, what a beautiful day today. So nice out here by the ocean. And there's my wife's house. She stays out on the weekends. I'm gonna get a little space here. There's a couple good corners up here. She really can't even feel anything on this bike at 20 miles an hour. There's my wife's second house. That's where she stays during the week. So right about 5,000, this red line's at 6,500, but right around here, this thing feels like I'm riding a chainsaw. And there's just very, very little torque down low because of the size of the engine. So as far as flickability goes, again, this does feel like a traditional dual sport motorcycle. It's very nimble, slightly top heavy in the way it feels when you're cornering, but not bad at all. It's not, I'm not making that as a complaint. Look at that old bike. Full throttle. So I kind of like this bike for cruising around town. I would not take this bike on a long journey on a highway. I think back roads this would be suited for perfectly, but get out on the highway and you have people going 70, you're gonna get pushed down the road. As far as a first motorcycle type situation goes, something that you may not want to outgrow super fast, this bike would be pretty fun, because you know, I could see riding this bike for a long time, and I could even see myself riding this bike around, just to ride it around for short trips and stuff. As far as my GS goes, it's just too big and heavy, and of course you get a lot more creature comforts with it, and it's got a lot more power, but I mean the bike is ginormous compared to this bike. Look at the size of this bike. There's nothing to it. So anyways, yeah. Those are my thoughts on the Himalayan from Royal Enfield. Again, check one out. Pretty cool bikes. Appreciate your subscribing, and any comments you have. Do you have one of these bikes? Let me know what your thoughts are. I think it's a pretty neat little package. We'll catch you on the next one, and as always, ride safe.